Hello everyone, and a big welcome to this particular video. In this video we are going to be talking about plant spacing, and especially we are going to be considering plant spacing for your commercial plantain field. Come along. So before we diving into this video, I know a couple of you who are yet to subscribe to this channel. All you need to do real quick is punch on that subscribe button, turn on your notification bell, and do what to give this video a big like. Share this video with people who need the information on plant spacing. Right now, let's dive in and talk about the benefit of having the right plant spacing for that your commercial plantain field. As you can see on this particular land, from one plant to another is 2 meters. So what that means is that we recommend you use a 2 meter by 2 meter plant spacing when you are cultivating on that your commercial field. Now, this is it. Plant spacing. People do not really understand how important plant spacing is in agriculture, especially Nigerians, especially those who will tell you that someone told me somewhere that you are just making a mess of your project. This is it. The spacing you use for your commercial field will determine the money you make at the end of the day. I cannot overemphasize this. Plant spacing, the spacing from one plant to another determines the yield you get. I will explain so you understand. In an acre, some people will tell you that you are supposed to plant about 500 suckers. Another person will tell you are supposed to plant about 700 suckers. Another person will tell you, in my village, we use 3 meter by 3 meter plant spacing. The truth is, if you follow in my village, or this is how my father or this is how my mother does it, without really following the technical, achievable and practicable approaches to cultivating plantains commercially, you will end up having so much vast land with very few plantain plants. What that means is that you would have a whole lot of land with very little yield. Before we go any further, what determines the plant spacing you use? There are different varieties of plantains, and the variety of plantain you choose to use will determine the spacing you will be using for that particular plantain. Now, for our commercial field setup, we use a 2 meter by 2 meter plant spacing because of the variety we have chosen to use over the years. The variety we use is elephant giant variety, and as you can see, they are mediumly sized in height. For that reason, we can afford to use a 2 meter by 2 meter plant spacing, and that is what we say regularly on our channel, that when you want to grow your plantains for commercial purposes, make sure you are getting the right variety of plantain that will allow you to have the right amount of yield from an acre. For our 2 meter by 2 meter plant spacing in 1 acre, we are expected to get 1,089 suckers. In all cases, we make plant for 1,100 suckers for 1 acre of land. Imagine me that is growing 1,100 plants per 1 acre, and you that you are growing 500 suckers per 1 acre. At the end of the day, when we harvest, who is going to be making more? Let's look at a practical example here. This is from here to here is 2 meters. 1, 2. This is 2 meters. From this plant to this plant again is another 2 meters. Now, people tell you that because when you use a 2 meter by 2 meter plant spacing, that your field will be congested. Now, let me ask you a question. This field and this field, is there any interference in terms of growth? The answer is an obvious no. Look at what we have here. Okay, is there any interference? The answer is no. So if you properly plan your commercial field, and that is why we say regularly that if you want to set up, make sure you are bringing experts to help you set up your commercial field. Don't go bring just anybody to help you set up your commercial field, because when they do, you would end up not getting the right yield, and when you do not get the right yield, you are not going to make the right amount of money from that your land area. Okay, so this is what you need to do. Ensure that you are getting the right people to set up for you so that you are getting the right yield at the end of the day. Use the right variety. And if you are looking to getting the right variety of, plantain that are mediumly sized, that don't grow, so huge and then occupy spaces, and at the end of the day, you are just getting one bunch from it. So why not use the 2 meter by 2 meter plant spacing, grow your elephant giant and get quality yield? That some of you might think that the yield is not, really that special. I'm going to show you the ones that are already fruited so that you see for yourself. Now, this guy is already fruiting. As you can see, this is almost about 40 fingers present on this particular fruit. Okay. Now, this is another one that I just started fruiting. Okay. The same thing also. This particular field is in its 7th month and they are already fruiting. The beauty is when you have the right plant spacing, you manage your field properly. As you can see for all of these fields, you can see that we are very, very particular about our field management. The weeding is done as and when due, and we are making sure that we do not have a lot of, plantain suckers competing with the parent plantain. So which would ensure that we do not have congestions at our field location. And that is what you should also do. And when you do all of this, it will help the plant to produce very quality bunches from what we've just seen. So the elephant giant we sell, okay, and we cultivate spends about 9 months for it to fully mature. It begins fruiting from about 6, 7 months, and at the 9th month, then they are ready for harvesting. And that is why we recommend the elephant giants if you are, going to be cultivating your plantains on a commercial scale. Having the right plant spacing ensures that you have the right plant population at your field location. When you have the right plant population, that means you have the right yield. When you have the right yield, that means you are going to be harvesting and getting the right number of plantain bunches. When you have the right number of plantain bunches, you are going to be selling and making a whole lot more than the person who is being conservative with his or her land. Now let's talk about the benefit of having the right plant spacing. Number one benefit of having the right plant spacing is obviously you have the right plant population. The other benefit of having the right plant spacing is that your field, when it comes to weeding, you see, you have more plants on your field, so you have lesser space where weeds will thrive. Another benefit of also having the right plant population, usually during the drought season, we are currently in the drought season, because of the close proximity of one plant to another, each of these plants provide shade for each other, which means that the rate of, evaporation from the ground, meaning the loss of water through the ground, is reduced because of the canopy this, plant to form over the soil. I also talked about weed. Because of the canopy they would form, it also becomes very difficult for weeds to easily thrive on that field location. Another benefit, like I said, is it is easier to manage a land that has the right plant population than a land that is quite scanty. Now, when you have a scanty field, it means that those empty spaces will be occupied by weeds, which means that you are, spending money weeding your field that has a lesser plant population compared to a land that has the right plant population. It definitely going to reduce the rate at which weed infest that field. Now, let's talk about the economics in, all of this. When we talk about the economics in all of this, is that when you have the right plant population, you have 1,089, between 1,089 suckers to 1,100 suckers per acre, compared to someone who has 500 suckers per acre. The same amount of persons that you need to weed 500 suckers in 1 acre is still the same amount of person you would most likely use to also weed that same field that has over 1,000 suckers per acre. At the end of the day, cost of maintenance now will be the same thing, but the yield will differ because someone who has 1,000 plus suckers would harvest 1,000 plus yield, and then someone who has about just 500 to 700 plant stands per acre would harvest a lesser amount of bunches. It's not just enough for you to have a field with 2 meter by 2 meter plant spacing and then you leave it out without properly managing or maintaining your field. If you must maintain that, 2 meter by 2 meter plant spacing that we use for our commercial field, then you also must be ready to manage your field. You have to ensure that your field is not weedy, your field is properly pruned, you provide nutrient as and when due, you provide soil amendment, because they are closely spaced 2 meter by 2 meter, then the root of each of these plants has a tendency to travel from one part to another, which means that if the nutrient is not adequately available, then they would not do so well. So, and that is why we say regularly, you have to manage your field properly so that you get the right yield at the end of the day. So that is how you get the best from your field. So if you ask me today or even tomorrow to recommend the spacing to use, I would say you should use a 2 meter by 2 meter plant spacing for that your commercial plantain field, so that at the end of the day, you will be getting 1,089 suckers from 1 acre. Let's be clear on this. You get 1,089 suckers, but you should make provision for 1,100 suckers, so that anywhere you do not have any emergence, you can always replace those places with the extra suckers you are having. So that is it. You should do agriculture right, and note that your plant spacing is the most important aspect of your planting, and that is why you need to get the right hand to set up that your field for you, so that you are getting the right plant population. The right plant population is the whole essence for why you are setting up a commercial field. The right plant population is the reason why you are even thinking of making money in the first place. So do agriculture right. And also, a couple of you have reached out and you've asked that how can you get your plantain suckers? It's pretty easy. Make sure you are sending us a message to our information detail. All you need to do is go to the description of this video. You would find our email, and you also find our WhatsApp detail. Make sure you are sending WhatsApp messages only. Do not call, because when you call without really booking a section, you will not be attended to. Make sure you are sending a WhatsApp DM. Tell us your location and then the quantity of sucker you will be needing, and we'll have it delivered to your location. Also, for those of you who want a professional field setup, all you need to do real quick is to begin to send us a message. Make sure you are booking your slot now, so that when eventually you come during the planting season, you will not be told that every of the slots available is fully booked. Send us a DM also to the number appearing on your screen right now. Make sure you're sending a WhatsApp DM, or you send us a mail to our company email. Go to the description, you'll find it. Make sure you are doing agriculture right. See you in our next video. Peace. Just before we go, if you know you haven't subscribed to this channel just yet, all you need to do real quick is to punch on that subscribe button. I said you should punch on that subscribe button, turn on your notification bell, and do well to like this video.